everyone, how's everyone going? So, we are back here at the Ocean Monument. We have a whole bunch drained. Have a look at this. If we go up. So, this is a Young's Better Ocean Monument, and it is enormous. So, while this is going in the background today, we can keep tabs on this while we go ahead, and I figure today can be a bit of a Q&A, a tutorial, and a bunch of other things, because in these boxes over here, we have a series of materials, and we can look at different building tips and tricks that basically we can go over and look at ways to spice up different ways of building. Although we may want to go to sleep instead. Yeah. I know, like, for some people, doing walls or things like that and actually having interesting things happen with them can sometimes be hard. So I figure this is a good opportunity. We have a stone cutter. Plop that down. And if anyone has any questions, yeah, feel free to put them in chat. And we can go over them. Because I figure, first off, we may as well talk about, your bland and boring basic wall. Coming in two varieties of, well, today we have deep slate and stone, but you can have them in whatever color you like. And the principles are basically the same. I know we've got stone here somewhere. And I'm sure everyone's heard the... Yeah, there we go. Perfect. The good old... Yeah, just slap something sticking up on it, and that'll help. Right? You go ahead, you put some of that on, put some of this on, and voila, it instantly looks better, right? What? That is definitely one way to go about it, and it definitely works. But then again, did I bring my axe? Yes, I did. This is great. It then becomes the question of, is 2 blocks between better? Is 3 blocks between better? And that's something that can be juggled. You can look at it and be like, well, actually, I really like the look of going with a quick in and out look. Like that. And see how that instantly changes it? Between having 2 blocks versus 1 block. And this is just with spruce. You can come in with, what do we have on offer? I know we've got some mangrove log, which is a similar but different log. It's smoother in texture. And actually goes ahead and will lighten up the look. See? And by doing stuff like that, it helps the whole look of whatever you're building stand out. And this is just by the basics of whatever you're doing. You can build on this with adding some trapdoors, which exist somewhere. There we go. And doing things like coming in with some spruce trapdoors, if you want, and adding a bit of stability at the bottom, making it feel like it's grounded. Or if that's not something that tickles your fancy, maybe you want to break out the verticality of it and do something like that. Or maybe, if that's not something you like, and you are still stuck with your stone wall with a 3-block wide gap, you might decide that, hey, let's just put our extra stone blocks away. I want to ground the space, but I actually want it to look like stone. So we'll break out some more stone in some stone blocks. And we'll go 1, 2, 3. And do this. And although it looks fairly retro with it being stone and stone block with some spruce, it's an oldie but a goodie. And you can also go ahead and do things like this with our trapdoors. And it instantly gives it that separation from the stone wall. And it helps. And this can be used for pretty much anything. Stone walls, building walls, anything. You can go ahead and repeat these kinds of patterns backwards and forwards too. Grab 3 more. That is not 3, but we will live with it. And just bump, 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 like that. And that gives the basis for something you can repeat up and down. Like so. Speaking of the great pipe dreams that we've been working on, these are what these are doing. They're just slowly sucking out the water, hoping that these are doing its thing. They've been very diligent in their tasks, and each of these squares are 1 chunk. And then we've got this one that's all the way down here now. Where's it at? I think, no, here it is. Let's turn on some night vision. There we go. It's gone hard. So this one I think is almost done, because there is the ground. And we're going to have to argue with this a little bit soon. So I think that'll be good. And like when it comes to walls, I think you can go pretty nuts with walls and pretty much anything you decorate them with. Because walls are something where you can build them out of anything and be like, yeah, that's a wall. Like whether it's amethyst or whatever, like you can go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like so. And be like, yes, this is totally my wall. And like no one can really call you out on. In fact, we could go and grab some brown mushrooms and be like, da da da. I really hope my axe is efficient. Yes, oh my goodness. For a moment there, I was worried that my axe wasn't Silk Touch, and that was going to be a problem. So if we just grab some more, and what we're going to do is we are going to stack it up so that we've got a point. And we'll go like this. So we have like a peekaboo archway. Oh. Now we can't really add in some stairs on this, but that's okay. Although what we can do is give ourselves some breathing room by actually moving this back. That would be the wiser idea of the two. That'll make life so much easier. Like on one hand, this This structure is amazing, and I cannot wait to get all of this copper. But on the other hand, right now, it is a pain. Look at that. Actually, I think this looks about done. Yes, it's done. We can turn the handle. Look at it. This has been draining for so many hours. It's just incredible how much time it's taken. Do we have our handle? Yes, we do. 1, 2, 3. So we'll turn that 3 cranks, and this should start draining. We should get some draining around about over here somewhere soon. I think it's over here. We snoop the corner. Should be draining. As long as this doesn't come lower in the doorways, we're fine. Aha! It is draining. Life is good. Okay. Perfect. And so, right, back to the amethyst. You can go ahead and basically make a wall out of anything, if you really feel like it. You do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2. Do. Because when you go ahead and have background color, which I think is a good way to think about it, having a background color, and then you build off of that. Because what you can do is you can go ahead and add archways to block out what kinds of color you want visible. And these archways can be big, they can be tall, they can be whatever. And by having the color visible just a little bit, like so, it lets the color not be too overpowering, but instead just, for a lack of a better word, shine through and let everything else blend at its own pace. And in doing so, it lets everything just work and flow and do its own thing. There we go. And you can do this multiple times, and you can even go ahead and pop this in, and let's grab some prismarine for another colourful addition to the wall. By going like so. Boom, boom. Oh, why do we have slabs? We don't need slabs for this. By doing that, you can see how you get this whole triple archway feel, and if you're going for a very zazzy wall, then this might be something that you want. Let's grab some lights. Do we have any lights? I'm pretty sure we've got lights. Okay, we have lanterns. Not quite the light I'm looking for, but I only grabbed a little bit, so you can do something like that. And that's one way to do something. Let's just clear this up. And you may find that you're actually wanting to build more organic shapes. And personally speaking, when it comes to organic shapes, less about what materials you use and more about the shape itself. Although, when you're building with organic shapes, it's much easier when you have on a smaller scale. It's much easier to build using half slabs, or at least something that has access to half slabs. Let's just put everything back where it belongs. That and that. So, because you have, there we go, perfect. Because when you have, I keep thinking that that is a creeper. It does not look like a creeper. However, let's grab some blocks and fix that up. There we go, perfect. Lovely. And I think we will use the dirt for this. So when you're dealing with, let's say we're making a tree. And you're like, oh yeah, I want a tree and it goes up like this. And then I want a branch going out like this. And then I want it to go up one more and then a branch out like this. Yeah, that'll get you a general tree shape. But, well, you can see there's a little bit of a problem with this. It's very flat, right? So something you can do is you can go ahead and, well, this is fine. It's, if you put enough leaves on it, it'll still have a tree shape. What you can do is you can start by twisting the trunk and going up a little bit. And if you find working in multiple X and Y axes hard, you can go ahead and have a like this and then go like so. And then remove some. And just repeat the process. And of course you can do this with wood. It's just easy to do stuff with. And that'll help give you a general trunk shape. Apparently the villager has told us it is night. Although it's raining anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then give it a little bit of base so that it's sticking to the ground easily enough. We could remove this one and have not so much of a problem. Although maybe we fill it in here. There we go. Perfect. So now we've got a bit of a trunk. We can go back up. And once we're at this point, keep those blocks. We've removed one too many. There we go. We're going to go ahead and add some limbs. And while sticking them straight out is technically working, it'd be much better if we go and put them on diagonals. Because nature does not grow in straight lines. So going like so is going to be much more easy for the nature. And we can go ahead and do that over here. And just put it again on another angle. That's an easy way to get a tree. And that'll give you the general structure that we need. In fact, if we just go ahead and we fill this in. We will have an instant tree. And you can leave like the hollow bits fairly easily because like no one's going to need to see those. And it won't be a problem long term. Yep. This bit. Look. And if you want, you can have bits that are like 2 blocks tall if you really want. Like coming straight out of the ground. Some trees have those, some trees don't. And there are different kinds of trees that generalize in different kinds of shapes. So depending on the kind of tree that you're going for may depend on the kind of shape that you're making. Some trees have a lot thicker trunks and some trees are a lot more windy. Take for instance Boab. They have a lot more of a thicker trunk and a lot smaller crown. A birch tree is a lot thinner in the trunk, but tends towards having a lot of leaves just sprinkled out. An oak goes towards having, well, actually more of a large crown of leaves. And it's stuff like that. If you're building a tree, you want to ask yourself what you can want to convey. Or whether you want to mix all of these together and get a sort of fantasy tree. Because this is Minecraft and it doesn't have to be a nature documentary. Also, you may want to be leaving for light to be coming through and things like that. And as always with nature, things are not flat, things are not even. So don't particularly worry about having and making things flat and even with your leaves. One thing that may help is coming through and adding leaves, like so, and then making them float. This may be a style that you like. Practically speaking though, it's not one style that I like to use often, and only when I'm doing particularly fluffy trees. I personally like having more of a willow-like look and having leaves dangle a little bit, because it's a quick and easy way to give texture to the bottom sides of my leaves. Leaf clumps, I suppose you'd call them. Like so. And that gives you an instant tree. If you're wanting a way to give yourself skinny ass branches, then my personal recommendation is these things. Although usually in spruce or oak, because they go ahead and blend in a lot better with most wood types. Let's grab some dirt so we can actually get up there. If you're wanting to go ahead and make some scraggly bits of bark, then I suggest using spruce trapdoors on larger trees. They don't really work amazingly on smaller trees, but what you can do is go ahead and have the general illusion of longer root systems, and usually it works pretty okay. But experiment with the type of I suggest experimenting with the type of fences you use, because some fences work good with some types of wood you use and some don't. It's kind of hit and miss. And yeah, we'll do a quick checkup on all of this. Because basically, that is pretty much the name of the game today. We do a quick checkup, then we come back. Although with this one, we're going to have to do the whole snooperoonie with the camera. Otherwise, we cannot see anything. Okay, so this has reached the point where we have to go ahead and we either go and add some sand to the bottom or we remove these fences. And I think what we'll do is we'll remove the fences because I think that'll make life so much easier long term. So if we go ahead and we just float down gracefully like a bird with great ease. It's totally great ease. I did not think about the fact that we're going to have to get out of here now. Okay. Okay, if we remove that, then this all should be able to be removed. And then I think if we go ahead and... Wait, is this water? Oh, thank goodness. I thought I was undoing so much work. Okay, we're free! There we go, okay. But yes, this is the Young's Temple, and can I just mention how much work has gone into this thing? This thing is amazing. Like, seeing it up close and out of the water is just so impressive. Oh my goodness. We had to remove some bits to do stuff, but... Oh, that is... I hear a fish. It is just intensely impressive what the Young's modding crew had to do this. Like, wow. Okay. So we can go ahead and we can turn this and then we can... Oh, okay, 1 and a 2. And that should be all of the water for that disappearing. So then... Does anyone have any requests on other things to look at and learn about or anything like that? Because otherwise, it is... The platforms are your oysters. We have a lot of blocks. And so... we could talk about a lot of different things. Oh, I know what we forgot to bring. We forgot to bring concrete. I think that's like the only block I have that I don't have a sample of today. But we could probably switch it out for like prismarine or something like that. Or maybe even wool. We could steal the wool from the ship. I spent a lot of time over the weekend going ahead and just doing a lot of the draining for this. And so there was a lot of time sitting here and being like, do I sing 99 bottles of beer on the wall again? No, I have annoyed my roommates. Ah. Okay. So, basically, I figure, by doing build tutorials and tips, I think that's a good idea for passing today. Also, where are my leaves at? Here we go. Perfect. And one of those. And those do not go in there. There we go. Another thing that you guys have asked about is how the glass trick works. So I figure I may as well talk about that today as well. if we use this. So the way the glass trick works is you can take one or more colors of glass. So we'll grab a whole bunch of colors. And the way it works is you go ahead and you build up a color. So we're going to use a little bit of grey stained glass for this. And you can see once we get this going. So one stained glass is the same as one stained glass, right? You look through and it's the same no matter what. But you look through it and you're like, oh, hey, that's pretty smoky, right? Versus that. But you go ahead and you make it a block of stained glass, like you can see the difference, right? And this is compounded over depending on what colors you put in. So if we go ahead and we knock this out and we slip in a different color, we can actually fine-tune the colors that we add. So we can go in and we can add some yellow and make this a slightly yellow-gray. Boom, like that. And you can see how that is now a slightly yellow-gray compared to this one. Where it's just like, oh yeah, we exist, I guess. Like that's... And you can see how that, looking at the prismarine, is very different compared to that. Actually, let's have a sleep so we can see what's going on. Yep. Where'd it go? Okay. So we can look at the copper. It's copper. Okay. We look at the copper and we can see how different it looks compared to this. And they're two completely different colors, right? Like this is well dark. And we can keep adding different colors. Like if we steal this and we plop it here. Do we have anything to fill in this gap? Yes, we do. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Okay, that was not the color I was expecting, but there we go. But then if we stare at that, you can see how dark that is compared to staring at this. And how that really changes the look of things. But watch as we go and take this yellow from here to all the way back there. Because the context of where you put the yellow in really changes things. And there is actually I don't know if you call it a medical intervention, something intervention. It's for those who oh, I don't like this song. This song can disappear. There we go. For those that use glasses and have trouble reading, but aren't dyslexic, it's called Erlands, and it uses a similar principle. So you can see how the yellow is a lot less prominent now. And Erlands works by basically layering different shades of color together to achieve better reading results. And for a lot of people who are like, well, crap, I can't read this paper on this bright white screen because the words are all looking like they're floating off the page. Sometimes it's an Erlands thing. Like you might decide, it might be like, oh yeah, you need a bit of green in your glasses. Did I put down green? Yes, I did put down green. But yeah, the context of the glass changes things. So you stare at that and it's like, oh, hello! That is suddenly so much more green. Actually, let's move the green to the front and then that'll actually look green. If we go like this and we put this here into grey. But yes, a fun fact. And you can end up with really wacky Erlen's colours. Where did we put our glass? Okay. And this technique does technically work with stained glass, but panes, but not amazingly well. So if we replace this layer here with panes, you'll see what I mean. Boom. So we'll only really be looking through this area. See? You still got the looking through, but it does change the color, but it doesn't really change the, like, you have to go ahead and be like, I have a full block on either side to get the whole effect. Otherwise you got the whole thing going on. And it's kind of a pain. But if it's something that you want, then go for it. Also, you can't have it happening vertically, otherwise you get the weird squares and you don't get the actual look. Because that's something that you can do. You can layer this vertically, as long as you're using full panes of glass. So yeah. And of course, you can mesh up with any sort of color you like. It's sort of like painting with the rainbow. And the world is your oyster. You can tint whatever block you like, any color you like, as long as you have the space to do it. You just have to remember that it will slowly get more opaque the more space you use. And I think if let's just run a quick test because I'm not entirely sure I remember. Let's use the light grey and we will double check how many blocks does it take to actually see if when it gets dark. Okay, grey blocks. Wait, did we have light grey blocks? I'm sure we had light grey blocks. No, we do have light grey. So light grey should be wait, we got 1, 2, 3. Okay, check. We can still see through. Okay. 4. So normally I just eyeball this and then I forget like 2 minutes after how far away. 5. Okay, we are still seeing through. So this is 10 blocks of distance, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, yes, double. Okay, so this is 12. 12 blocks of distance. We can only just see it. This will make 14 blocks of distance, and we are starting to lose room. Okay, we can barely see out the pattern of this block, or that block, or any other block. We need a step for us, and a step for the other block. Okay, we are actually going 2 blocks high. Okay, we can do this. Okay, 1 and a 2. And we can still barely see it, but we can, like, it is vague. It is super vague. Okay, so that is 14. 1, 2. And we are out of sand, but that's okay, I think. Because we can steal blocks from over here. Why is there water? There should not be water here. Go away. Shoo, shoo. I am not... Wait. It should not be waterlogged. I'm so confused right now. Wait, can double stacks of slabs be waterlogged? Is that a thing? If it is a thing, I am very disappointed and I'm probably going to have to take the sponges from this place and go ahead and be super careful about this. I am not sure about my life anymore. Okay. I did not know that was a thing. What? Okay. And then 1, 2. I don't see it. Oh, it might be there. Or I might be imagining it. Okay, so that is 16 blocks to get that. Oh wow, that is a weird look. But yes, there you go. 16 blocks. To have a full, probably, optical invisibility. And I'm pretty sure if you go ahead and you put do we have any tinted glass? Oh, that might be tinted. No, that is black stained glass. Okay, we don't have any tinted glass. Do we? We do have some amethyst clusters, so we could try. We do not. Okay. But yeah, in doing so, you can actually get some really amazing looks. And by mixing and matching it with stained glass and things like that, you can create some using stained glass and LED light and stuff like that. If you're willing to sacrifice the what is it called? The thickness and space. Because sometimes it's very hard to sacrifice that much space for that sort of thing. That being said, it does make amazing fountains. If you are wanting to have like big, deep, rich, icy blues, or you can mix the colors together and make some rich cobalts. Because otherwise you don't end up with those colors. You can also have it... Is that our last layer? Is it draining? Yes, it is. That's great. You can have those colors by actually illuminating the bottom layer of whatever you're doing, and having things like a freaky hell pit by going ahead and... where did we put our magma blocks? You can go ahead and place down a whole bunch of magma like this, or lava. Lava works too. And just lighting it up. Boop, like so. And we want to see, so we are sleeping. And going ahead and grabbing... In this case, we only have yellow stained glass, but probably a mixture of red and yellow stained glass would work. And going ahead and putting things like this in layers to get the effect, so that everything just shines through. So you have this spooky hell pit where you can see the light coming up, but you can't really see what's happening underneath. And there's just this moving light. It's something to think about, I think. Doop. Oh, perfect. Speaking of which, we need to keep track of all of this lava, magma stuff, because eventually we are going to be using it to make a piglin farm. We have a whole bunch of stacks of it back at base, so we will be able to use it fully. Also, when it comes to walls, it depends on what kinds of things you're wanting the wall for, whether it's an outside wall, an inside wall, or whether it's a fortification wall. Because when you're doing things like, say it's for a fort, it's the area that you're building the fort for. Like if you're wanting the fort or whatever to be telling a story, Do you want the fort to be part of an area where there is a lot of war? Do you want it to have patches so that, like, you can absolutely see that this war has gone through a lot? And I don't think I brought any cracked blackstone. Okay, so you can see that there are big lots of just hasty patches where people have come along and placed down patches and gone ahead and put in... that was supposed to be my thing. Just put in lumps of wood so that everything will hold together. And you make it in a way that it's not exactly ugly, but in a way that it looks like it's trying to be a sport, but it was hastily thrown together. Rather than if it's still a fort, but somewhere where it doesn't see combat or invading armies or anything like that on a regular basis. So it's got this nice stonework where everything looks just so, and all pretty and nice. So there isn't any weirdness going on. And so you look at it and you're like, oh, that's so pretty. And I don't feel like cutting any blackstone stairs, so I'm sorry, they're just going to have to be... I mean, we're just going to have blackstone stairs rather than cobblestone. Deep slate, that's the word. Although, actually, we probably could. And you could have something like that instead. To tell the story. Although, you might want to space these out a little bit more. This is probably a little bit cramped, maybe. And these could go out and up into a tower or something like that. I think I made these sides uneven. Ah! There we go. It's just looking at it and I'm like, there's something funny about that. There we go. And so doing something like this, you're like, oh, that's a bit messy. It holds the wall up, sure, but it's messy. Whereas this, people have had time to go ahead and carve things and add things and things like that. You could even come in and be like, yes, we're a posh and civilized place. We have little funny bits. Whereas this one, being all rough-hewn, is like, well, we can't do that. Yeah? I hope that makes sense. Feel free to ask any questions if it doesn't, or if there's anything that you're interested in knowing about specifically. Yeah. Do. And I think personally, contextual storytelling, the ability to look at something and get an idea of what is going on, is something that Minecraft really is great at. Because there is no dialogue. It is very, very there when it comes to that sort of thing. And if people want, they can go to extra games like Dungeons or Legends and stuff like that. But the world that we make is specifically on you. It can be in a suburban, yeah, it can be a city, it can be a fantasy place, it can be anything. But it's up to you, the builder, to actually go ahead and tell the other person, the viewer, about it. And by doing that, you invite them into your world. Like, you want to go ahead and tell them that you're in a fantasy steampunk type world? Well, then there's actually a color palette that will help do that. It's normally a lot of browns and things like that. And if you're having to run a mod, then I would recommend using Create, because oh my goodness, I have never seen something that is more steampunk than that. Because oh my goodness. Speaking of which, we will snoop at this and see how this is going. Is this going? Oh, look at this. Isn't this amazing? It's busy doing its thing. It's got all the water slapping. This is like the main room where you fight one of the Elder Guardians. And like, all of this was filled with water before. But seeing it like this is just like, ah, yay! There's been so much slurping going on. No? Water pumping? Something? Either way. Okay, if that's doing that, and then this down here, let's turn on a light. Finished! Look at it! Yay! We can remove this wall! Oh my goodness! Huzzah! Okay. We'll get that pump done. Yeah, we have everything in our inventory. I have no idea what we just hit, but we obviously hit something. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. Perfect. One of those. And we need that object of usefulness. Thank you. And that. I think we'll set it up in here. Now we have a specific spot where we need to put it. Just through there. There. I think I'm seeing a slight issue with it. And the fact that there is a piece of wall, and we will get rid of that wall immediately. Therefore, we won't run into any problems. Okay. Bye, Guardian. Bye, Guardian. Oop. Perfect. Although that Guardian will probably come and say hello in a moment, so let's get ourselves on track. All we need to do is we need to slap one of those there. One of these here. Okay. Let's just get rid of you first. Come back here. Like, I swear, I think Guardians have become my #1 killed item since doing this. Like, oh my goodness, there have been Guardians everywhere. No surprises, like, you shouldn't be in this area without not being able to blink and find a Guardian. There are some times where it's like, can one take just a little break and not find a Guardian? I do appreciate the moments where there is not a Guardian. One there. Now we need one of those. We do not need that sword. One. And then a 2. And then we need to go up like this. Place our sails everywhere. Do. And I think I've sort of become immune to the whole get hit by the Guardian and panic regime. Like, I used to be a firm member of that. But now it's sort of disappeared into a bland nether of, well, if you get hit, you get hit, and it doesn't really matter. I'll go away eventually. And I know that's not really a healthy mentality. But still, you get hit so often, it's just like, why? Why bother? I'll come back later, I'm sure. Okay, what we're looking for. Also, we have ended up with 2 new music discs. It's great. I appreciate it. Wait, which helmet is this? Oh, that's the mending helmet. And now we need some redstone just to sweeten the deal. Then, oh, and you're done too, so we'll just give you a quick turnaround. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I figure if we turn them around 4 times, and then hopefully that should be enough. Keep them going for quite some time. Oh, yeah. This thing first. Doop. And then we need to turn it on. So now this is going to pick up the signal from the hot clock over there. That goes on. And now 1, 2, 3, 4. That is some. One more. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. And that is sucking away. Lovely. Boom. And I figure, oh, like we can leave those going for a while and it should be good. Right, back to our random wall of randomness. So if we're busy looking at this from pretending that it's actually smooth, wait, we have an even better pretending to be smooth material. We have, that is the wrong shovel. We have a silk touch shovel for this. Do-do-do-do-do. Perfect. Lovely. Okay. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Bum bum. Bum bum. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay, so we have our lovely wall of randomness, ready to have random things randomized on it. So when you have, like, if you're wanting to do a more modern take on something, personally speaking, and you don't have modded blocks, so we're imagining these are unmodded blocks right now. I think personally, going with shelving is an easy way to deal with things, and being like, oh yes, there we go. And then being like, yeah, I have an item. It is a very posh item. Yes. Look at its blueness, its niceness. And what you can also do is if you're wanting edges to your shelving, then you can go like this and be like, ta-da, 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 and do it both ways around. And that's a way to just help center something on a place. You can also, when you're dealing with another trick with trapdoors, is if you're wanting to decorate a wall, but the wall's going to be seen on the other side, is you can go ahead and place down the trapdoors just as a sort of... There is a word for it. A freeze, I think it is. And it helps separate the wall. And you can do this with banners if you don't mind the movement. But it helps segment the room and differentiate it from whatever is going on this side. And if you really want, you can like wrap it round if there's no door. And I think doing stuff like that is really useful. And when you go ahead and you do stuff like that, you can also go ahead and be like, oh yeah, I have my shell. I have a pot that I forgot to bring, but we're going to pretend that this grass block that is over here is my pot. So we're just going to plot that there. And you can go ahead and be like, yeah, I have... That will actually be big if I plant it, so no, that is not going to happen. So will that. You can be like, yes, flower. Or instead of flower, you can be like, we have amethyst. Look at it, isn't it so pretty? We appreciate it. But of course, personally speaking, I think paintings are a great way to break up a space, because you can go ahead with a painting and say your painting is your painting is we'll use the lapis as a painting size. You've got a 4x4 painting, right? Then you can go ahead and be like, yeah, I have my trapdoors in. That helps separate the area, and it provides a sort of general focus for your eyes as you go ahead and you're like, yeah, and then I have a shelf. Actually, we're Minecraft people, so it'd be better to have the shelf at this height. And that instantly provides centering and things like that. And you can also go ahead and bring in a whole bunch more seats under the painting. You can make them into a sofa. And that segments an area pretty well, I think. Whoop. And I think doing stuff like that is really useful. This is the wrong tool. Also, never be afraid of mixing your bright colors. Just be afraid of mixing your bright colors badly. Which I think should be the next part. Color theory! Color theory is fun. We appreciate color theory here. So, of course you got your blues, your yellows, and of course, your reds. I'm honestly not sure if I've got a red block, so I'm the red block. Oh no, wait, I have netherrack. That works. Near the rack, near the rack, near the rack. Do 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 do. There we go. You're a bad. Well, you're more brown than red. Okay, so there's your primary colors. Red, yeah, orange, red, yellow, blue. It's kind of cool. Orange, yellow, orange, and that is bad. Those are your primaries. Then, of course, you have your secondary colors, which are purple, green, and do we have a purple, green, orange? You know what? That is close enough to orange. I will take it. They have purple, green, and an orange. That does not work. Let's think about this in a careful, considerate manner, and we will work out a color theory. So what we'll do is we will go like this, and we will go like this. So we have a green, a yellow, an orange, Okay, red. And purple. Okay, so. And for those of you that know your rainbow, actually, let's move you over to this side so that it's vaguely rainbow-like. So that's vaguely the rainbow. From there, you also have your tertiary colors, which is where your turquoise, your cyans, all of those ones fit in. Your magentas. And that's where color comes into it. So that's where those colors come into it. So you have a burnt orange. Well, that's kind. That would be sort of a more reddish yellow. This color, that's a more blue. Yeah, I'd probably put it a more blue green. And so the way color theory works is it would be easier if we arrange these as a points on a star or something like that. But actually, let's do that. Got one of those. Then we come over this side and we got one of those. And then next we have we have on the diagonal one of these. Then we have one of these. How have I muffed this up? No, I don't want to know. This is... It doesn't matter. Anywho, we will work with a line. A line works. But anywho, basically the general thought of the matter is when you take a very bright orange and a very bright blue, they're very strong colors next to each other for the eye. And what it does is it makes blocks hard to look at. Blocks, colors, anything really. And you can get around this by having a softer orange or a softer blue, so that one of these colors are dominant. In this case, it would be the blue over the orange. And I think, where is the magma gone? Oh, we also have a pumpkin. And in this case, the pumpkin, the orange, is more dominant over the blue, because that is a stronger orange than pumpkin. But if we remove that, you can see that it also still changes things. And it actually starts making the blue look a bit more flashy. Because that's the fact that by actually adding this, what is this called? Gypsum crystal. It's still an orange, but it's a soft orange that helps mellow out and even out the rest of the colors in this area. So if we go back and we grab some of this magma block, another orange, but more of a reddy orange, again, it moves away from being a more harsh. And we can go ahead and we can remove this. And again, because of the fact that it's not a hard orange, it doesn't actually cause problems with the lapis. And we can go ahead and do this with the amethyst and the yellow stained clay and have a similar effect. And we can see that this actually really brightens up the amethyst. Do we have anything else yellow? Okay. Let's just have a quick look. Okay, we sort of... hay bales are sort of yellow, so they're a sort of yellow color. And if we put this right up close, it actually goes out ahead and brightens up the hay bale. And that's something that is well known with colour theory. It goes ahead and it brightens colours and it darkens colours. And if you're new to dealing with colours in this way, I really recommend testing out your colours with little swatches like this and testing, does this colour look good together? Does that colour look good together? And you'll probably find you'll have a whole bunch of colours that you didn't realise you actually liked together. Because otherwise, there are actually like heaps, huge amounts of colours that are just left behind, and they're like, well, to be used too. Like, personally speaking, as a general rule, I am not a huge fan of using orange. But orange in the right circumstances looks amazing. It's great. But it's not the greatest in every circumstance. Let's just put these back. It doesn't go there. Here we go. Perfect. Doop, doop, doop. And we can check on this. How's this going? Oh, that's doing pretty good. That's doing pretty good. So, by doing that sort of thing, that's doing pretty good though. So is that. Oh, I wonder what's lighting up down there. Please do not be. Oh, that. Oh, I think I left that as pre-prepared hole so I could actually do stuff. Oh, that is a guardian. But by actually going ahead and having a plan on colour and having things lit up and stuff like that, it opens up a lot more ideas long term, I think. Like, take for instance this. It's a monochromatic build. But as they built it, they also took into account the fact that they had this. I forgot that it stripped the copper as you did that. So you can actually have a lot of fun. Gosh, copper looks so weird. And speaking of a build like this, when you look at builds of different sizes, this being a hugely upscaled and re-detailed ocean monument, it has so much more. Like, even this top part, it has been a bit pulled apart, but it had in itself this big glass area with a dome on top of it, where you could look in and see the main room, where there is these beautifully detailed area, which in a Minecraft build, a generated structure, I should say, there has not been the space to do such a thing. And seeing these sorts of details, seeing how there is this sort of space on a wall, how these sorts of details, having the wall split up both vertically and horizontally. See how there is these wall pillars with a full block then wall, and then more full blocks, and having that pattern repeat multiple times, that actually creates a sense of both the unity as well as creating both the light for the room and a visual interest for the entire area. And that's something that is important when you're dealing with a large build. Because when you're dealing with a large build, otherwise you just end up with this blank room where you're just like, well, shoot. I have no ability to deal with this thing because it is empty and I have no idea what to do. Because otherwise, well, it just exists. Like over here, having the conduit, which came pre something or other, and these floor patterns just built in. And it's things like that that you can be like, yeah, that is pretty cool. Not gonna lie, pretty cool. And ooh, I am not sure how I'm going to deal with unflooding the rest of this, considering that there are all of these. Probably a whole thing. So, when dealing with structure, if you feel that you're confident to wing it, then go ahead and wing it. But the bigger the structure, the bigger the stress it'll be to wing a structure. Like, oh yeah, go ahead, wing a little tree. It's a lot of fun, personally speaking. But when it comes to a larger build, 1-2 chunks, like, it's definitely about finding where your limits are. Oh, by the way, check this out. Look at this amazing detail of using stairs and slabs just all the way down, creating this V shape. It is amazing. And it is one thing seeing it in the water, and another thing seeing it out of the water. Unfortunately, some of the bits had to be removed while unflooding the place because of dealing with the pumps. But oh my goodness, like this has been amazing to unflood. And some of it, like this bit here, was already. And like, let's actually go down here, because it is just amazing to fly around beside. Like, its sense of scale is something else for reals. Like, you walk around and then you're like, wow. It's these pillars, they're like, this is the mega base. And like, there's a whole bunch of areas up there that, yeah, these bits up here that had to be very carefully manually unflooded because of how things were. It was rather tricky. But yeah. I definitely recommend, like, if you're one of the people that like flying by the seat of your pants, then try building a larger build with minimal planning, if it's something that you like doing. But you may run into problems with detail work in the later stages, because sometimes that can be a thing that happens, and it can be frustrating. And let's get some more sand put down, because, like, honestly, this place, we need more sections. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Get that going. Huh? Okay. I'm busy looking at my music list now. I'm like, wait, have I not heard what? I'm pretty. Here we go. Now we have music that is not going to repeat on us. I think. I am pretty sure. Let me double check this. Yeah. Okay. Tricky things. Basically, this is a little doohickey. It's working off the observers figuring out that each other is making a little pulse, and then the other one is sending a pulse back, and then it is an infinite loop. It is a good infinite loop. We appreciate this infinite loop. But at least once this area is done, because if we turn on F3G, we can see the chunks, and we've got like one more chunk that way, and then we have finished blocking out the chunks for this area, and then we've just got like one chunk on each side to do, and then it will be great. Then all we will need to do is drain this place, and it is good. So fingers crossed, because so far this has used 6, 8, 9, 10, I think somewhere like 12 shulker boxes of sand. It is an incredible amount of sand. I'm not sure I have ever required this much amount of sand for any one task yet before. All we have to do is make sure that we fill in those areas down there later on. In fact, it would probably be good to do that now. Because these bits... Oh, someone's got a laser. Hey, buddy. Come here. Thank you. Oh. Was not ideal. Oops. This was not what we wanted. Okay, yeah, they're fighting each other. It's fine. Fine, standing. Oh, sweet. Boom. There we go. Perfect. What we need to do is fill in these little gaps, and we don't have to worry about it. See? Perfect. Genius. Lovely. We do this side? We do now? Perfect. Because otherwise the water will just continuously suck out of the ocean, and then it won't actually do anything, and it will be really super awkward. And then that will be an us problem. But there you go. Night vision, please. And so basically this will just keep tickety-booing on, and we will eventually get all of our sand done, all of our everything done, and yeah. And hopefully, on the bright side, this is way quicker than doing it by hand. That is something I learned real quick. There are quicker sand placement methods, I think. Or maybe I'm biased, but I'm not entirely sure, honestly. But I think this one works in terms of ease and complexity and things like that. Like, I think personally, when it comes to actually going ahead and putting things together, it's definitely more about like making sure that you have what you need rather than whether it's the fastest, the best, or anything like that. Because if it's the fastest and the best and yada yada yada, but it was an absolute pain putting it together, then was it worth it? Because if it's not worth it, then what was the point? Because sometimes that doesn't make it a whole lot of fun. That being said, I've been placing sand all weekend, so I wouldn't know. Yeah, there'll be a lot of sand. So much sand. And on the good thing, we do have the music. It was a conscious choice to turn off the music for doing this, because it's like, at least we have chill music to vibe to while we place many blocks of sand. The question is, what do we do with the sand afterwards? Because we're going to have enough sand to go around the outside of the sand block wall that we make. Because if we have enough sand to go around the sand block wall, then we will be able to put in glass. And if we have enough to put in glass, then we will be able to make this look amazing. Or what we can do is we can put enough that it goes around this edge. Yeah? And so it's only going around the shallow area. And I think that would look really cool as well. So it looks like it's been excavated. I'm a little bit nervous about these bubbles. I keep thinking that they're from the Guardians. But I know they're not, so it's just like, I'm being shot at again. The shooting is happening, but it is not. We do not need the that. That can disappear. We need more of this. Perfect. Oh, actually, let's just double check on all of this. Wait, where did we put this? And the slurping on that is done, and the slurping on this is almost done. No, it is not. It has only just begun. It's fine. It's fine. Perfect. Okay. That is probably the most egregious misuse of FreeCAD that I can think of doing, but it has definitely been a heck of a time saver, I think. One more. There we go. Perfect. And this one was not done. Yeah. Okay. Because all we have to do is make sure that all the buttons go in all the places at all the times. Because if the buttons don't go in all the buttons in all the places at all the times, then we may run into a problem where none of the buttons go in none of the places at none of the times, and I don't even know what the buttons are. Which may be a problem. What were the buttons again? I don't remember what the buttons are. Doop 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 doop. Like, personally speaking, I think having the ability to actually go ahead and do this sort of thing is a whole heap of fun. It's great. And... what? No, we broke it. We broke it. We spoke too soon. Okay. We heat the corn flour. And this. There we go. We got room for it. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Because, like, you go ahead and you're like, yes. Yes, I see the thing in the future that will one day be this. And having that sort of future vision, I think, really helps with having the ability to make whatever you want to make. Because when you go ahead and let's just make sure those will actually land. Oh, actually, I see something that may not help. These bits down here. There are just these random half slabs that sometimes show up and they don't help whatsoever. Oh, no thank you, I do not want to be shot today. I am a fun-loving individual that exists in time and space. Somewhere in time and space. I'm not entirely sure where, but I do exist. We need this one. And we need to remove that. And I think that should be good. We're out. No. Oh, yeah. Perfect. And when you go ahead and like having the ability to actually go ahead and plan things, I think is important when it comes to doing a larger build. And different ways of planning are different for everyone. Whether it's going ahead and just marking out a random shape on the ground, or going ahead and writing out a 12-step process. Like, some people may find that writing out the exact specifics of where you want to be and what parts you want to be, and we have forgotten to fill in a bit. We should go and fill in that bit before we forget. Excuse me, Guardian? Yeah, I have a bone to pick with you. Please. Thank you. Because for some people, having like a full-blown written list of instructions, that may be the completely ideal way to actually have things done. Or they may actually not write out, but audibly set out notes for themselves. And that may be exactly how writing, I keep saying writing when I mean like setting notes for yourself for the future. That may be how you find that doing things works. You may find that drawing a picture or doodling little random shapes may be the perfect thing for you. And that's great. And this doesn't just apply to Minecraft, it applies to anything. Like, finding a way that really helps you to plan and set out goals, then finding your specific way. Because for some people, doing bullet notes, I don't know how they manage to do it. It's crazy. Personally speaking, that way is the way that I understand the least. Like, people write down little squiggly words and they're like, yeah, I understand this. I got a goal. I understand this. It does things for me. It makes me happy inside. And I'm like, you're crazy. That is bull. That is bull right there. I do not understand it. I've had people try to explain it to me. It does not make sense. And then I come along and I slap down my paper full of squiggly lines and they're like, I do not understand what a star and a smiley face mean next to the word blobber. What does this mean spelling? And I'm like, it means that I am going on holiday in 6 months. And they're like, how does a star and a smiley face and the word blobber mean anything to me? And I'm like, it doesn't need to. And so, I hereby say that anything, like, your communication needs don't have to be the same as everyone else's communication needs, unless it's for a job. Then, at that point, then there may have to be some sort of thing going on, because telling your boss I have a star and a swirly and the word blobber, that may be a bit of a problem. Because a star and a swirly and the word blobber, that doesn't get you very far. But in your own personal notebooks, going a star and a swirly and the word blobber, as long as you understand what that means, good on you. Go for it. Because, personally speaking, when it comes to doing those sorts of things, when it's stuff for you, it only really needs to be interpreted by you. And so, therefore, it needs to be tuned for you. Because otherwise, it's just like, it's not, there's no point. And I am out of sand. Please don't tell me I'm completely out of sand. Am I completely out of sand? Has this been sand falling from the skies and doing nothing? Please tell me this is not the case. I am sure these guardians are getting more closely crunched together. Because I think, personally speaking, when you go ahead and you have... That is the wrong way. Let's go this way. Because when you go ahead and you have... Ah, there is so much flashing involved. There we go, perfect. When you have, like, everything organized together like that, we should have brought a music box and figured out what chirp sounds like. I have not heard chirp before. I don't think I've heard chirp before. Do we have any more sound? Yes, we do. This is great. But when you go ahead and you figure out your own communication needs and styles, it can really help. Because for some people, that's easy. That it just means talking over coffee break. But for some people, that it is a little bit more complicated. How's this going? That is going well. And what about this one? This one is finished. This is good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go 5. We are doing so well. We have most of the main temple excavated. All we're missing is like a chunk this way and a chunk on the other side. And we are good. And I figure we'll do those last because those are going to probably be the least likely to actually spawn guardians. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. Also, there is a underwater ruins. I'm curious about them. I want to see how that goes. I don't think we're going to be able to place much more sand. And interestingly enough, we have picked up so many glow squid things from this. Great. And if we grab these... Like, the good thing is that the Guardians have been really low down for most of the time, so we haven't run into many of them at the top of everything. Oh, more glow squids. Like, I don't know what kind of situation we're going to pull with the glow squid sacks, but I'm sure we will run into a situation where we will use them, and it will be fine. It will be dandy. It will be peachy. Do. There we go. Wait, is this what? No, it is not finished. It lied to me. For a moment there, I was just like, hooray! We are finished! No, we are not. It is sad. It is much sad. There you go. On the right side, at least we have many much sand and we are actually able to do all of this. Although on the other hand, we kind of went and got so much sand long term. Like, I have been to the desert so many times. Oh my goodness, we're almost here! Huzzah! Like, it has taken 3 trips to the desert to get this far. Like, I cannot think of going to a thing that has taken so many trips to the desert. So it is sort of like, oh my goodness. But hey, look, wait, does this mean we're done? We did it! Puzzle! We did it! Okay. No more noisy thing. Perfect. Perfect, wonderful, lovely. With emptying these, basically it's going to be that one tips into there, that one tips into there, and that one tips into there, so no one will actually worry. But the good thing is that the sad thing is that we're only using 2 of these. We could make another one, but it is what it is, basically. So I think here's probably a good point to end it for today. So I will say goodbye. Thank you for coming. I hope you've enjoyed this and I will see you again later. Bye. Thank you for coming.